Welcome to another episode of the INH show where we talk about geek culture, news, and lifestyle. Today we are doing a bit of a special, episode where the INH show and maxi-geek.com, we were fortunate enough to go and check out Ant-Man.
Yes.
Media advanced screening?
Media screening, yeah.
Media screening. So this is before the full release, which is later this week, right?
Yes, Thursday.
Awesome. So, look, we'll pretty much we'll just get into it quite easily. I mean, I really enjoyed it for what it was. Really cool stuff. I mean, before I get into it though, what did you think of it so far?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it's not what I was expecting, but I think that's a good thing. I think going in thinking it's going to be something and then being surprised, it's a good thing for a movie. So
right. Did you find that the visual effects and the storyline was what you were expecting it to be, or better, worse? What do you reckon?
I mean, Edgar Wright obviously did the initial story concept, so I was hoping for a good story, and I got one. It was a little rushed, I thought, towards the end a bit. But, time constraints and budget, I think, played a factor in that.
Right, so they had a lot of build-up for it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the build-up, and then towards the end, which is like, I guess, the last third of the movie, they just squeezed in a lot of action-packed sort of scenarios in there.
Correct, yeah. I mean, they did say at the start it is a heist movie.
Right.
So it's very Ocean's 11, where it's a lot of build-up to an event and then the event.
Exactly. So it is, I would take this as a non-typical superhero movie, but it's literally a heist comedy.
Yeah.
That's how I took it.
Set in the Marvel Universe.
It's set in the Marvel Universe. And it was great to sort of see other characters like the Falcon. That scene was really cool. I thought it was awesome.
Very cool.
I guess just to sort of summarize as well, I mean, the story does follow Scott Lang opposed to the typical Hank Pym Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man. And we discussed this before when we were walking out, that I found it really funny that at the fact that the Marvel Universe from the films, to me, it follows the ultimate sort of universe, right?
Yes.
So you've got, Nick Fury that looks like Samuel L. Jackson. They had a joke in it where, if someone was acting as me, who would it be? And, they spoke about that sort of thing. But what I found really bizarre, I guess, not necessarily a bad thing, but what I found really bizarre was the fact that they're going with the Scott Lang character opposed to the Hank Pym and the Jan characters, if that sort of makes sense. But I think that's a good change, I guess, if it sort of makes sense.
Well, I think Scott Lang's more relatable to the modern audience than Hank Pym. I mean, Hank Pym, very cool character in the comics and even now in the movie, but I think Scott Lang being more relatable, especially being played by Paul Rudd, brings that certain openness that I think if he was pure science like Hank Pym was, might throw people off. Right.
So, actually, let me ask you, what did you think of the Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang? Did you think that was okay, or?
I actually think that was pretty spot on casting.
Okay.
I was a little hesitant to believe he was some sort of genius, but when they said, it's electrical engineering, it's like, well, no, that if you study that, you can learn that stuff. So
okay,
that made sense to me.
All right, cool. What did you think of the Evangeline Lilly character?
Yeah, hot and cold is the only way to describe her. She's very, very turned off to Scott at the beginning, and then towards the end,
you sort of warm up to her, right?
Yeah,
I felt exactly the same. Like, I didn't really care for the character too much, but then towards the end, you're like, okay, I get it. Yeah. The only thing I will say though, the scene, and this is not a spoiler too much, anyways. The scene when she cries in it, I didn't believe that one bit. I don't know about you. When he was telling about Jan, I was just like, I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, it does set up some interesting plot points for a future Ant-Man movie.
It definitely does, definitely. All right, so, I mean, overall, I thought it was really good. It was a lot of fun. It is a heist movie. It's not a typical superhero Marvel movie.
Correct.
I assume you feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, I never expected it to be Avengers or Captain America. I mean, Ant-Man is a very different style of character, and in Scott Lang specifically, he's a very jokey kind of guy. So if you go in expecting another Captain America, Iron Man sort of film, it'll be a disappointment. But it's Paul Rudd. If you know what Paul Rudd does in his films, it's the same sort of thing, but Marvel.
And he plays the typical Paul Rudd sort of. Yeah, sort of. I guess what's the word for it? The typical Paul Rudd acting style, right?
Yeah, the half joking, half trying sort of thing that he does.
What did you think of him as an action sort of hero? Because he had some moments in there where he had some fight scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, he had the costume on, so you don't. Who knows if it was actually Paul Rudd doing it? But
that's true.
It's still believable. I mean, there was the training montage as it was.
Right.
There was a few moments in there where you see him without a shirt, and I'm sure that some ladies would like that.
He's quite buff now, right? He's quite like, I think that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, going to a superhero movie, you'll come out freaking ripped.
Apparently, I need to get cast in a Marvel movie.
Right. The only other thing is I wanted to ask or quickly talk about is the stinger at the end. What did you think?
Yeah, they didn't call him the Stinger. Oh, you're talking about the sub...
After the credits.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting direction.
Civil War.
Are you talking about the post credits?
Post.
Oh, okay.
Not
the second one.
The second, yeah. So not necessarily the I don't want to give it away too much.
There are two endings in this movie.
So there was one straight after the credits. What credits roll a little bit.
Yeah. So the primary cast.
And you can tell because the lights are not lit up yet.
Yeah.
In the cinema, that is, right? So there was that bit we stayed for, and then we stayed all the way to the very end, and there was a stinger there, like a post-credit scene.
Yes.
Right, and what did you think of that?
I like it. It actually is footage from Captain America Civil War.
Okay.
It was filmed in advance for Ant-Man
to
help tie them in together.
Okay.
Don't think it needed to be there. It's not...
Yeah, it didn't sort of relate to the story too much of Ant-Man. It didn't really show too much of what's happening. It's just like 3 characters were in there, and it was just like, this, okay.
So
and you're like, what?
Every other one of those scenes is always, it's teased a little bit. It's always pointed to something.
Right.
Whereas this one really didn't. It sort of just is like, oh, hang on, there's this. End. Sort of just, it didn't do anything. It's very cool, but didn't do enough to say, it had to be there.
Now, were you telling me as well there were 2 different stingers? Or 2 different post-credits? Was that you that was telling me about that?
That's what Marvel have said. They've said there's 2 different ones in there. Who knows if that means that was the first one and then the one we got at the very end, or if it's actually 2 different endings. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
But I think a second viewing maybe to get it.
That's the next question I was going to ask. Would you go ahead and watch this a second time?
Yes.
Really?
I liked it. Honestly, I mean, I suppose it depends on the people you're with.
Right.
If they're not into comedies, if they're not into Marvel, this is not going to be a film for them.
Right.
But no, I mean, my friends would definitely like this film. So if I get invited, I'll head again.
No, definitely. Cool. I mean, I feel exactly the same way. And going into this, just for you guys out there, it is not a very typical Marvel superhero movie. It is literally a heist comedy. That's how I took it. So
set in the Marvel universe.
Set in the Marvel universe. And it's just a lot of fun, a lot of witty humor, all that sort of stuff, right? It's what you would probably expect from Paul Rudd, all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was good. Michael Douglas, what did you think of him?
He did really well. I was quite surprised. Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect.
I like Darren Cross. He made a comment, and I won't say it, but he made a comment, and it's like, that's pretty much how I've thought of Michael Douglas' performance. Thought maybe, but no, it's actually really good. So
right. No. I
you know the one I'm talking about.
I think I do. I don't want to spoil it because obviously we're going to try to post this up before it's released.
They have a nice big smooching scene. They get in. No, they don't.
But the only thing I'll also say is Darren Cross. So I'm not that familiar with Ant-Man myself because I never really read the Ant-Man books, to be honest with you. I only know of from like the Ultimates and all, and reading bits and pieces of Avengers and stuff like that. However, the Darren Cross actor, I don't even know his name.
Corey Stoll.
Right. He plays a really good villain. Like every time I looked at him, I just wanted to knock his teeth out. He does it well.
And he had the charm. He had the villain charm. He wasn't menacing because he was mean or evil.
Right.
He had that whole Tony Stark swagger going on.
Yeah, like that arrogant, witty,
so if Tony Stark didn't stop building weapons, maybe more like Darren Cross is what he'd be today rather than the Iron Man.
Fair enough. Well, anyways, that's, I guess, my review. It's great, it's fun, it's worth watching. Would I watch it again? Yes, I would watch it again. Obviously, you feel the same way.
Yes.
Okay, so if we were going to rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it 8 ants out of 10 ants.
8 ants out of 10. That's pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for improvements, and I think swapping of directors probably hurt that, but it's still a great film. And as I said, if you go in expecting pure, straight-up Marvel, it will be disappointing.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you go in expecting a heist comedy, then it's probably going to be up there as one of the better ones.
I mean, I would probably myself rate it about 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, but it is, I guess, being under the Marvel label,
yes,
it makes it a little bit tough not to do that. So,
yeah.
anyways, we will finish up here for now, I guess. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for watching. Thanks for taking me out. It was a mandate that we went to watch a movie.
He shouted the popcorn.
Yeah. But yeah, look, make sure you check out both our Facebook pages. I'm sure I'll put it up here, down here, somewhere around here. Make sure you check out the maxi-geek site as well for, what would you say, maxi-geek does a bit of everything, a bit of geek culture as well, right?
Yeah, it's the stuff that's cool that I like. It's not. I'm not IGN. I'm not aiming to be comic book resources. I'm not posting up every single scrap of information. I'm posting up the cool stuff.
Right.
The stuff that interests me. If that's the same interest as you, great. If it's not, I'm sure there's a billion other sites that do something similar.
Cool. But moving forward as well, I'm sure we'll do a lot of collaboration work together as well. So, right. Well, thanks for watching, and I guess we'll catch you all next time.
Thanks.